Adi Hindu and Dalit movement. Adi Hindu and Dalit movements. In the year 2011 Group 1 Mains, the question was asked about the Dalit movements, and again in 2012 also the question was asked with a small modification. If you look at the 2011 question, the question is like this: bring out the significance of socio-cultural awakening in Telangana with reference to the role of Andhra Mahasabha and Adi Hindu movement. Andhra Mahasabha and Adi Hindu movement. That was the question. So the question is actually straight. It's a very straight question. It's just asked about to explain the role of Adi Hindu movement and Andhra Mahasabha in the socio-cultural awakening of Telangana. That's it. Significance of these two organizations. See, the Dalit movement, the Adi Hindu movement, played an important role in the socio-cultural awakening of their respective community, the Dalit community. And Andhra Mahasabha has played the role, as we have discussed in the previous classes, the role in the socio-cultural awakening of the general people of Telangana, including the Dalit. It has even targeted the Dalit upliftment also. The Vetti Chakiri, abolition, upliftment of the Dalit, what are some of the aims for which the Andhra Mahasabha has fought. So Dalit movement is exclusively, the Adi Hindu movement is exclusively meant for the Dalit community. So the roles played by these two organizations in the socio-cultural awakening of Telangana need to be explained here. So we've already had the question about the role of Andhra Mahasabha, its activities, and how these activities helped the people to get educated, to get enlightened, to get awakened. And similarly, how the Dalit got educated, got enlightened, and got awakened by the movement of Bhagya Reddy Verma or Adi Hindu movement. So in 2012, an exclusive question was asked about the Dalit movements only. Explain the reasons. That was the question in 2012. Explain the reasons for the socio-cultural awakening and Dalit movements in Telangana. Socio-cultural awakening and Dalit movements in Telangana. Yeah, what does mean by Adi Hindu? Adi. Adi means first, earliest, foremost. Hindu means Hindu. Why this particular word has been used by the Dalit for their movements? It was actually commenced by Bhagya Reddy Verma, or otherwise called as Bhagaya. Bhagaya. His original name was Bhagaya. The man who became the pioneer of the Dalit movement. Bhagaya. But subsequently he was assumed the titles of Reddy and Verma to claim his rights, his status in the society on par with the upper caste, on par with the forward caste. He himself has assumed this title. One of the titles was actually conferred on him by an Arya Samaji, and second title was assumed by him on his own, Reddy and Verma, to demonstrate the right of the Dalits in the society on par with the other communities. These two titles have been assumed by him. Okay. Why the word Adi Hindu was used for the Dalit movements? That could be the reason. ఎందుకు ఆది హిందూ అనేటువంటి పేరును వీళ్ళు తమ ఉద్యమానికి పెట్టుకున్నారు? భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ ఎందుకు ఆ పేరు పెడుతున్నాడు? You might be knowing about Jyotiba Phule, the founder of Satya Sodhak Samaj. His theory is also Satya Sodhak Samaj, a Samaj for finding the truth. That was the purpose. What is the truth he searched for? He searched for the truth about the dominance of the Aryans, how the Aryans have acquired the dominance over Indian society, how they have become the Aryans, how they have become the Brahmanas, how they have become the dominant class in the Hindu society. He has claimed that the original inhabitants of the country were the Shudras. His theory was that original inhabitants of the country were the Shudras, are the untouchables, the backward classes. And these communities were turned into slaves, into outcasts, into untouchables by the Brahmins after establishing their control by defeating them in the wars which they have fought at the beginning of their adventure into India. That was the reason why they have forced slavery on the part of the local inhabitants. They were the original inhabitants, original Hindus. The same reason was made by Bhagyareddy Verma here for naming his movement or his organization as Adi Hindu movement. ఈ దేశంలో అసలు సిసలైన హిందువులం మేము, దళితులం, మేమే అసలైనటువంటి హిందువులం, తొలి హిందువులం మేమే. ఈ దేశంలో మొదటి నుంచి ఉంటున్న వాళ్ళం మేము. కానీ ఎక్కడి నుంచో వచ్చిన ఈ బ్రాహ్మణులు మాపై విజయం సాధించి మమ్మల్ని అణగదొక్కి మమ్మల్ని దళితులని, చండాలులని, పంచములని రకరకాలుగా మాపై వివక్షతలను రుద్దారు. కాబట్టి మేము మా హక్కులను తిరిగి పొందాలి. That was the motto. To regain their strength, they claimed that they were the original Hindus in the country. They were the original inhabitants of the country, original Hindus of the country. So Dalits were considered as the original inhabitants and Hindus of the country. That's why the movement has got the very name of Adi Hindu movement. The movement did not confine only to the Nizam state or to the Telangana. It was extended throughout the country, spread throughout the country by Bhagyareddy Verma. Bhagyareddy Verma was a very inspiring and influential leader who has carried the movement and its activities throughout the country. Let's see the details of the movement. Why this movement was commenced, what were the goals, who were the leaders, what kind of activities were carried here. As part of this movement actually, various Dalit organizations have been established, numerous Dalit organizations, multiple Dalit organizations, dozens of organizations were established to inculcate a kind of enlightenment among the Dalit communities, because Dalits were subjected to so many hardships, so many the evils by the society. These evils need to be questioned. And you will be able to question them when you get enlightened. That was the motto. They wanted to enlighten the Dalits so that they can question their inabilities which were imposed on them by the contemporary Hindu society. కాబట్టి తమ మీద బలవంతంగా ఈ దురాచారాలను రుద్దారు. వెట్టి చాకిరి అనేటువంటిది ఉంది. వెట్టి చాకిరీని ఎక్కువగా ఎదుర్కొన్నటువంటి వాళ్ళు దళితులే. ఆ సమస్య వల్ల బాధపడిన వాళ్ళు దళితులే. బికాజ్ ద దళిత్ కమ్యూనిటీ ఆఫ్ ద రూరల్ ఏరియాస్, they were subjected to this particular evil practice by the Doras, the feudal lords of those regions. They used to extract this free labor, forced labor from the Dalit communities. And Dalits also, they used to consider this particular labor, free labor, on the part of the Doras as their duty. They used to consider that it's their responsibility. Why? Because it was forced on them, they were habituated to that. Now they got enlightened and they started questioning that. They started opposing that. Because of the enlightenment came to them by such activities carried by Bhagyareddy Verma. Right. Take down the introductory lines here. The Hindu movement, the Adi Hindu movement, commenced the process of enlightenment of Dalit community in Telangana. Dalit community in Telangana. It had mainly focused on the elimination of evil practices, that were imposed on the Dalit by the Hindu society. The movement had opposed the dominance of Aryans, that is the Brahmanas, whom they considered as the very reason for the disabilities of the Dalits in the Hindu society. The Adi Hindu movement considered the Dalits as the original and earliest Indians as well as Hindus. Okay. What are the reasons for this movement? Causes for the movement. So before looking at each one of the causes, write two connecting lines to the causes. The numerous causes for the movement were due to the contemporary conditions of the Dalits in the Telangana region, Take down the causes one by one. We discuss some 7-8 causes which are responsible for. So question can be like this also. What are the causes for the rise of the Dalit movements in Telangana? That also can be a question. Or what are the circumstances under which the Adi Hindu movement was commenced? Or what role the Adi Hindu movement has played in the socio-cultural awakening of the Dalit in Telangana? Or estimate the role of Bhagya Reddy Verma in the Adi Hindu movement of Telangana. This is how. The question can be varied, but answer is similar. Depending on the question, we need to modify the answer very, very slightly only. Basic structure answer అయితే ఒకటే ఉంటుంది కంటెంట్. క్వశ్చన్ భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ రోల్ గురించి అడుగుతున్నాడు. ఆన్సర్ రాసేటప్పుడు భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ అని ఒక 4-5 సార్లు కనపడాలి మనకు అక్కడక్కడ. భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ ఇలా చేశాడు, భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ అలా చేశాడు, ఇవి కనపడాలి. లేదా ఈ ఉద్యమం దళితుల్లో ఏ విధంగా చైతన్యం తెచ్చింది, ఇలా క్వశ్చన్ అడిగాడు అనుకోండి. ఇన్ వాట్ వే ద ఆది హిందూ మూవ్మెంట్ కంట్రిబ్యూటెడ్ ఫర్ ద రైజ్ ఆఫ్ అవేక్నింగ్ ఇన్ ద దళిత్ పీపుల్, ఇలా అడిగాడు అనుకోండి. దళితుల్లో ఇలాంటి సమస్య, దళితులు అనే పదం కనపడాలి అక్కడ ప్రధానంగా అనమాట. సో ఇలా దళితుల్లో ఈ సమస్యలు ఉన్నాయి, దాని నుంచి వీళ్ళు బయటపడడానికి ఈ విధంగా జరిగింది. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ హౌ వీ నీడ్ టు సమ్ అప్ ఇట్. లెట్ సీ ద రీజన్స్. వేరియస్ రీజన్స్ ఆర్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ దట్. The Dalits in Telangana were subjected to an evil practice like Vetti and Bagela. What did Bagela? Vetti is forced labor, unpaid labor. What is Bagela? Bagela is something related to indebtedness, rural indebtedness. When someone indebted to a Dora or a feudal lord and unable to repay the loan to him, he will be tied to the agriculture fields of the Dora. And he will be keep on going, cultivating the lands of the Dora without receiving any further remuneration. Until his debt or loan paid off, he will be tied to the agricultural land. And he will be tied to the agricultural land until the loan gets cleared by him. And for cultivating the agricultural lands of Dora, this what you call the victim will not be paid any additional remuneration, any additional labor. If at all the labor is to be paid to them, it will be very, very meager compared to the existing prices. This is how the Baghela also is one of the wicked practice, one of the atrocity on the part of the Dalit community. So generally these two evil practices used to be inflicted on the Dalit community in the Telangana region. Vetti and Baghela, which had ruined the economic conditions of the Dalits. Next point. The Dalit women, the next cause was the Dalit women were subjected to the social evils of Jogini system, social evils of Jogini system, Devadasi system, Jogini system, Devadasi system, which became a widespread practice in the contemporary Dalit society. In the contemporary Dalit society. What is Devadasi system or Jogini system? Both of them are similar systems. Devadasi system. Deva Dasi. Dasi means slave, Deva means God. They were the slave women for the gods. That was the initial purpose for which the system was actually initiated. The system was initiated as early as in the 4th century AD itself. You can trace back the origin of this system during the Gupta's period. So, Gupta's period was a period where for the first time temples were established, temples were founded. So, with that, this practice was also came into force. In this practice, certain women were deputed to serve the temples, to serve the gods. But eventually, these women who used to dedicate their lives for serving the god and the temples began to be exploited sexually by the temple authorities, the village officers and the village elders. And in course of time, this system got corrupted fully in order to be considered as a prostitute system by the common people. So it is just like the prostitute system, but the difference being these prostitutes will not be paid anything. The prostitutes will be paid something, but these prostitutes will not be paid anything, and this prostitution is confined to the temple, what you call the temple slave girls. So that was the basic difference. So Devadasi system, Jogini system, Basivini system, various names were used for the system in the Telangana region. So most of the Dalit women were subjected to these systems in Telangana. That was the second reason. So this system need to be eliminated. That was the purpose of what you call this particular Adi Hindu movement. Right. The next cause. Elimination of caste system, which was the root for all types of discriminations, on the Dalit. When we have had the discussion about Arya Samaj, I have explained about this evil practice of the caste system. Right. Caste system is a great what you call the evil practice in those days. The biggest victims of this practice were the Dalit community, the untouchables. They were not even accommodated in the fourfold Varna system. What was the place of the Dalits in the Varna system? They were the fifth caste. The term used for them Panchama. They were not even allowed to be the part of the Varna system. The Hindu society never treated them as part of the Varna system. And their residences were reserved outside of the common villages, outside of the common residence. So, heinous, what you call the professions have been prescribed for them. These were the various reasons for the fighting on the part of the Dalits for want of their rights in the society. Right. Let's see the next reason. The Dalit community was assigned with signed with heinous professions apart from relegating their residences outside of the villages. Next one. Inaccessibility of the Dalits to the social assets of the community. What were the social assets to which accessibility was denied to them? The drinking water wells, the schools, even the temples also. Right. Next point. Despite being the Hindus, the Dalits were denied the accessibility either through the Hindu temples or to the Hindu scriptures. Yes, these were the various reasons for which the Dalit movements were actually commenced. Then what this movement tried to achieve? What were the aims of the Dalit leaders here? Bhagyareddy or Verma or the other leaders, what they aim to achieve out of these movements? Right. Goals of the Dalit movements. Goals of the Dalit movements are Adi Hindu movements. Okay. Creation of enlightenment among the Dalit community about the issues that were imposed on them. Fighting for the abolition of the word Panchama. To be replaced with the words like Adi Hindu, Adi Andhra, and Adi Dravida. Right. Next one. Promotion of unity among the various Dalit communities. See, all the Dalits are not same and similar. Among the Dalits again we have the dissimilarities and differences and disunities. దళితుల్లో కూడా అనేక కులాలు ఉన్నాయి. మళ్ళీ వీళ్లకు మళ్ళీ వివక్షతలు ఉన్నాయి, డిస్క్రిమినేషన్. ద హిందూ సొసైటీ discriminate the Dalit as a whole. But if you keenly observe, a Dalit discriminate the other Dalit. There was further discrimination among the Dalits itself. If you go to Kerala, for example, in Kerala we have various Dalit communities: Pulayans, Ejavas, Vellalas, various Dalit caste. Each one of the caste is to be discriminated not by the other communities, by their own Dalit communities. యజావాలు ఉన్నారు, పులయాన్లను దగ్గర రానివ్వరు. పులయాన్లు ఉన్నారు, వెల్లాలను దగ్గర రానివ్వరు. వీళ్లకు వివక్షతలు. మీరు తక్కువ కులం, మాది ఎక్కువ కులం, మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళలో వాళ్ళు. అసలు దళితులే టోటల్గా తక్కువ కులం అని హిందూ సమాజం చూస్తే, వీళ్లకు మళ్ళీ తక్కువ ఎక్కువ. కాబట్టి భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ, he has aimed to eliminate these differences among the Dalits. He wanted to unite the Dalit as a whole. ఎందుకంటే then only the Dalit could be able to achieve their goal of elimination of the discrimination as a whole by the society. వీళ్ళే మళ్ళీ వివక్షతలను పాటిస్తుంటే మరి మిగిలిన సమాజం పాటించే వివక్షతను ఎలా వీళ్ళు రూపుమాపగలుగుతారు? కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ ప్రధానంగా దళితుల్లో యూనిటీ రావాలి. దట్ వాస్ అ గోల్ ఆఫ్ భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ, ఫర్ విచ్ వేరియస్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ వర్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్డ్ బై హిమ్ and various activities were also carried by him. Right. Next one. Elimination of the habit of consumption of liquor, and eating the dead animals, among the Dalits. Next one. Elimination of Jogini, Basivini, and Devadasi, and other Jogini, Basivini, and Devadasi, and other similar practices among the Dalits. Next, finally, preaching of Buddhist philosophy. Preaching of Buddhist philosophy among the Dalits. Buddhist philosophy among the Dalits. Why this was also made as a goal? Buddhist philosophy. Preaching of Buddhist philosophy among the Dalits. Because Buddhism had no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, anything else. And they preferred Buddhism rather than Hinduism. So the Buddhist philosophy also need to be preached. Yeah. So stop here. We can continue tomorrow.